Well, one second, Terry. One second. One second. I'm just letting some people know. Not that. Let's see here. All right. I think we're about ready. As good as it's going to get. Well, I am sitting here on the bed doing Christmas stories tonight because Mother Nature blessed me with sub temperatures like a lot of people. And prayers for everyone because it's just what I endured was not good. But crazy 24 hours. But with, oh, perfect. Thank you, Terry. Hey, Bev. So I'm in my pajamas because this is the warmest part of the house, which is my bedroom. And the rest of the house is really cold because I have no heat and I have no water. So I went and got water from my neighbors this morning and boiled it for the goats. And I just boiled some more water, letting it cool down. So when I'm done with this, I'll run out there and put the hot water, the warm water in with the buckets so the goats have a little bit of water overnight. It should be warming up a little bit. It'll be in the 20s tomorrow, which is better than -0, -5, or 5 degrees. It's amazing. Not everyone knows this, but when I was in the military, I spent uh, one season, one deployment in Antarctica, and I was 18 years old, and I got to go to the South Pole. And with that, it's so crazy because a storm can blow in, and it'd be -5, -10, -20, and then it gets like 30 degrees outside with the sun shining, and you're like, "Oh, this is a warm day," and everyone's out in t-shirts. And so as long as the wind's not blowing, 30 degrees is not too bad if the sun is on you. But when the sun's not on you, it is super cold. And the coldest I've been in on record, this little human being right here, is -90. Um, there was one day, I'll tell the story real quick. There was one day when I was in Antarctica. So what we worked for the National Science Foundation, and we basically helped. We worked on the planes and helped scientists and supplies to get to those places throughout Antarctica for research. Um, so we hauled a lot of people. So there were C-130s with skis on them, and we had twin engine Hueys, UH-1N Hueys, and really unique squadron. A lot of history to it, and I was really blessed that I got a chance to be part of that. And it's called VXE6, and uh, it's it decommissioned. I got out in '97, and it decommissioned in '99, I believe, '98, '99. But we were the only search and rescue out of there's other countries down there, and it kind of split up into a pie section, and whoever got the biggest budget gets the biggest slice of pie. So we had the biggest slice of pie along with New Zealand. But there was I don't know if it was Finnish, but they were from Finland or from uh, the northern countries there. But they were down at the South Pole, these researchers, and they got stuck in a crevasse. And since we're the only qualified team or squadron to go and rescue them, my duty was to work on these aircraft. So when the aircraft came in, it was going to shut down. We were going to tie it up and call it a night. But we had to go and get the plane ready for the search and rescue. And it was a storm. It was very, very cold. I mean, like I said, -90, -80, -90. So every piece of my body was covered, because if a little piece wasn't covered, it's instant frostbite. And so we turned the plane around and got it back on so we can get out to the area where the scientists or the researchers were stranded. And but they were able to save, I believe there's, and this is so many years ago, but I believe there's 3, and we were able to save 2, and 1 wasn't able to be saved because he was stuck in or he or she was stuck in a crevasse. And a crevasse is a large fissure in the ice that can be 2 feet, 4 feet, 6 feet deep, or it can be hundreds of feet deep. And so yeah, we were able to save them. Save 2 out of 3. So, but yeah, that's the coldest I've been in. So this cold weather that we have right now doesn't really bother me too much. Not good for guests that are visiting, but no one's here, just me now, and timing is everything, right? So, but so tonight I have some really cool special books that I want to read, and as you probably all know, it says Christmas Eve, and it's the day before Christmas, and so what better book or books to read is The Night Before Christmas. And I got 2 versions. And so I want to read them both. I want to see if there's a difference, because I have not looked at them. I've looked at this one briefly, but not this one here. So I figured maybe we'll start with the Timeless Classic. And oh man, I'm getting too old. Can't sit for long with the legs crossed. I'm like, but heating blanket, I'm telling you, it does wonders. I want to thank my mama for that, because she's a smart lady when it comes to getting me all the right things. These pajamas, she got me some pajamas. I mean, they're like, I'm 48 years old, but when mama knows best and gets you the things that it just kind of makes you smile. And so I got some warm PJs and got some a warm blanket, and then Kira's asleep on the dog bed, and there's a heating pad for her. She's been out cold, and but anyway, all in all, today was a little crazy. I'm not going to go into the details in case there's kids listening, and you'll see it on my other stories. But let's go ahead and make the best out of this day and read some amazing books. So here we go. I've yammered on enough. So, The Night Before Christmas by Clement Clarke Moore, illustrated by Tasha Tudor. In this fresh approach to one of America's favorite Christmas poems, Tasha Tudor invites the reader to look at the tale through the prism of a detailed Vermont setting that reflects the objects and views she experiences every day. This personal touch gives the story an inviting correlation and warmth it rarely enjoys. Here is A Night Before Christmas that shines out this holiday season and will continue to do so for years to come. And these are stories that we grew up on, and these are moments, where we get to actually just kind of reminisce when we were children as well. And I hope as I continue this, I actually TNT04 Terry is her name. She referred a book to me for next year actually, and I want to continue to read this. I mean, if I can do this every year, it would be amazing. It'd be amazing if I'm able to get some kids involved in watching this, because that's the whole purpose really is so the kids can enjoy this with their mom and dad or their family and grandma and grandpa, and sit around a fire, drink some hot cocoa, and enjoy some good story time. So let's get started. The night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in the hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sputtered. I flew like a I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the lure of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles in courses they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen. Oh, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and Saint Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had slung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry, his cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of him on his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying a finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney, he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. This story never gets old. It's such a beautiful tale. And the illustrations are gorgeous in this, beautiful in this book. I'll just show you some here. I want to just read it through and keep it, going and simple. And you know, hopefully y'all can see that okay. And then there's just great illustrations, really, really great. And then, it's funny is that I never noticed this in this reading before or in the story that they depicted Santa Claus as an elf. And we always know Santa Claus having elves, and we picture Santa Claus being human-esque, in size. And actually, here they show him being smaller, and he's an elf. And quite unique role of what they depict Santa Claus to be. Sorry, my voice is a little dry tonight. Let's see, you guys. One second here. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Let me just. There we go. I want to turn this all off here. Okay, hopefully I didn't mess that one up. There we go. All right. So yeah, let me finish showing you guys some of these here. Like I said, the illustrations in this book was just stunning. Actually, let me get to the one where, yeah, Santa is an elf. Look at that. Like I was saying, it's always been depicted that Santa is human-esque, human in size and looks. And here they show Santa as an elf. Quite unique, because you almost would think that there's some truth to that. But anyway, great book. So, and again, I have to thank the Parrotsville Library as well as the Stokely Memorial Library in Newport, Tennessee. They've been good to me. They have held on to the books and found some books for me to take and read to everyone. And let's see here. So now, so this is the other Night Before Christmas book. And again, I looked at this briefly, but I want to read this. I want to read the other one. And, which read this one first. And now we're going to read. Hey, John. Thomas, I'm up in the bedroom. And I haven't talked to you all, and I'm going to hopefully see you all tomorrow. But my house has no heat except for the space heater I have in my bedroom and my electric blankets for the dog and I, and a fireplace. And the oven's on too. The oven's been on for 24 hours now, but no water as well. So I'm in my pajamas, up in my bedroom where it's warm, and reading stories on Christmas Eve. So while everyone's out there drinking eggnog and partying it up and being crazy adults, I'm being a big kid and reading books to you all, and hopefully to some kids. Because at the end of the day, I mean, we're all big kids, but it'd be nice to have some kids involved in all this as well. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna give me something to drink. All right. Maybe the store will be open tomorrow and I can get some eggnog. It's I won't be able to stay too late because you know we had a scare goats, but I don't want to leave them alone too long. I'll leave them. But I'm gonna go visit some other uh, late morning and early afternoon, and guys after that. But if anything's open tomorrow morning, I'm gonna grab some eggnog. So it's right. Kids at heart count too. Yes, yes, Terry, they do, and we're big kids at heart. And I, when I read these stories, it brings back a lot of positive, good memories as a kid. And so they did good things for me. I hope maybe they do good things for you all and any kids that do listen and watch this. Maybe not at a later date. They don't have to be on here as I'm live, but at a later date they might, come across it with their parents and listen to it. So so let's get started. The night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mamma in her kerchief, and I in my cap, had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be Saint Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and he had flung on his back, and he his pack. Sorry, 1 second. I'm having. Are you guys? Can you guys see me okay? On Instagram here, because it's saying that. All right, that looks like it's back now. Sorry about that, guys. You know, good old Elon Musk is servicing us all tonight with Starlink. All right, cool, awesome. And YouTube hiccuped a little bit there, but so far so good. I don't have the full service Starlink just yet, but I'm getting half service for the same price. Thank you, Elon. Appreciate that. Hoping to have full service here later this year or next year. Get my money's worth. But so far so good. I mean, I'm running 2 feeds off the satellite, so can't complain about that. All right. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, and then turned with a jerk. And laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I think I read this one actually at the beginning, but it's the same because it's the same author, but different. And so it's. I never knew they depicted Santa Claus as an elf, and so in this book, Santa is just a jolly old man, blue eyes, and let's see if we can find. Yeah, see, good old Santa. He's not an elf, but in this illustration, he actually is an elf. It said that in the poem, so they actually illustrated it as that. Kind of cool, you know, the things you don't pick up on, and then when you read it, you're like, ooh, wow. Well, let's see, how long have I been on here? Almost a half hour. It is Christmas Eve. I hope everyone's having a good night. And I actually have so tomorrow is 12 Days of Christmas and the Polar Express. It's my mom's favorite. And so I'll read these tomorrow. I have some other ones, but we're just running out of time. And I think you guys have heard me enough. What are you doing, K-Bears? No, stay. There she goes. There she goes. Come on, kiddo. Let's go. I'll let you out. Come, come, go, go, go. Come. We'll cause some trouble outside. So if you want, I can read one more book, or we can just call it a done day. And it is Christmas Eve. I have the Owl Moon. I can read Frosty the Snowman again. I have the Mitten. I don't think I read the Mitten. I think I read the Hat. And which the Mitten is very similar to the Hat, and it's the same illustrator actually. So, and then there's Rudolph, how Santa got a job, or got his job, and then there's and that's it. So, y'all up for another story? You're good. You may call the shots, and then for tomorrow, I was thinking 7 p.m., but I may not be home. Actually, no, I'll be home by 7 p.m. So I think I'll stick with the 7 p.m. tomorrow. Everyone enjoy Owl Moon. Okay, I'll read the Owl Moon before we call it done this evening. And then tomorrow, 7 p.m., because then it allows everyone to kind of have their Christmas. And maybe at 7 p.m., everyone's winding down and in front of the fireplace and some hot cocoa. And we can kind of go out Christmas Day, the 12 days of Christmas with a bang. I think I missed 3 days of the 12 days of Christmas. And it's just tough. It's tough to read every day, and I tried my best, but there's been hiccups. And even though today was a really somber day, really hard day as well, I didn't want to miss it because it's Christmas Eve, and it's really important because I carried this story through, or these story reads through for 12 days, and Christmas Eve and Christmas Day is like the most important days of all of it. And so that's why y'all get me in my pajamas, because it's the warmest part of the house. And so we're going to read Owl Moon. So it's not really a Christmas book, but it's winter themed, and it has to do with snow and an owl and a moon. And as we do, most of us do have snow out there, and everyone just be diligent, be careful, be smart. This cold weather is nothing to mess with, for sure. And if you have animals, as I'm learning, it's an ebb and flow. It is tough. The homesteading farm life is a lot to learn, and a lot of hardship and flow of it all, because some days are good and some days are bad, and some days are hard to deal with, and because it's not just about you, right? It's like when I had my business. It was never about just me when I had employees. It was about me and my employees. My employees were important because, end of the day, how successful the business was is my employees putting food on the table for their kids. And so, same thing with having farm animals. It's not about you as the individual homesteader or the farmer, but it's about all the animals you bring in, and hope the best to give them the best life you can, and keep them happy and fed and hydrated, and so when you get weather like this, when it's like negative temperatures, it's really tough on them, and we have to just do our best to care for them as best we can. So, but the little babies that were born are just cute as can be. They're active, they're jumping around, butting each other, and before you know it, they'll be just big enough where they'll be running and jumping on walls sideways like Spider-Man. And so anyway, let's read this. So, Owl Moon, and she says it's for her husband David, who took all of our children owling. To my granddaughter Nisa, for when she is old enough to go owling. Great illustrations. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind, the trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us a train whistle blew. long and low, like a sad, sad song. You know, I'm back here in the back holler, but big old barn, a big old farmhouse like that would just be to die for. Not complaining with what I got. You know, I like to have some heat, but that's okay. I'm not going to die. But yeah, the old classic, you know, the old classic farmhouse, big barn. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out trains and dogs for a real long time, and when their voices faded away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on towards the woods, Pa and I. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short, rounded shadow bumped after me. Hmm. But I never called out, if you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up as if he's searching the stars and if reading the map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask, and then he called, "Woo, woo, woo, woo," the sound of the great horned owl. Wahoo, 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 wahoo. I had a big owl last winter. Huge. I mean, it was huge. I got a picture of it actually. I was driving home and it flew across in front of me and landed on a tree limb right above me. I just stopped and just shined a light and just took in a moment because nature is just downright amazing in so many ways when you get to experience it. Again, he called out, and then again. After each call, he was silent and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said sometimes there's an owl and sometimes there isn't. A little raccoon right there, though. My pond is completely frozen over, but that's right at the front of the pond. You can see all the little footprints of all the animals that come and drink out of the pond. And raccoons are quite abundant, and some possums. And I've caught a bobcat, not caught, but like on camera, a bobcat drinking out of the pond, and deer, um, raccoons, possums, and who knows what else. But you know, the birds are always up there playing. Got our toads and the frogs. We walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back. And my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold, felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. I'm gonna have to try that, owling, because I definitely have owls here on the property. They're all nestled in the trees, staying warm. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry for the scarf over it and was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When we go owling, you have to be brave. I've hiked up into the woods here on my property and at night, and it's a beautiful thing. I mean, it's just amazing what you hear, what you can't see, but what you hear in the middle of the night. It's pretty amazing. here in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. When we came to a clearing in the dark woods, the moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl. I sighed, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf over my mouth and listened hard. And then Pa called, "Wahoo! Hoo! 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 Hoo!" I listened and looked so hard my ears hurt, and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came threading its way through the trees. Woo-hoo! Hoo! 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 Looks like it worked. Pa actually got an owl to hoo back. Pa almost smiled, then he called back, "Woo-hoo! Hoo! Hoo! Hoo!" Just as if he and the owl were talking up supper, or about the woods, or the moon, or the cold. I took my mitten off the scarf off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl's call came closer from high up in the trees. On the edge of the meadow, nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow, lifted off and flew right over us. He watched silently with heat in our mouths, the heat of all the words he had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. That's what I did when I saw my big owl. Beautiful, majestic birds, just majestic birds. My mom had a pet owl when I was younger. She rescued it, and eventually it went to a research center, not research center, but it went to a sanctuary, and named Bocephus, Bo, little screech owl. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. Have you all ever seen an owl in person, in the wild, not at the zoo, in person? It's a beautiful sight. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch like a shadow without a sound. It flew back into the forest. "Time to go home," Pa said to me. I knew when I could talk, I could even laugh out loud, but I was a shadow as we walked home. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says, the kind of hope that flies on a silent wings under a shining owl moon. Things to do with your kids one day. It's a beautiful story, beautiful book. Well, hey, I appreciate everybody hanging in there, coming on, and listening to this almost every day that I've been doing this. And thank you all so very much. And if you know anyone that would appreciate these stories or any of the stories from the Farming Man channel or Tennessee Dreamin', please share those. YouTube, Tennessee Dreamin', and the Farming Man, two separate channels. Instagram, the Farming Man and Tennessee Dreamin' is all the same profile. And but yeah, share please. And I mean, if I ask for anything from Santa, is more subscribers. Tennessee Dreaming, as well as the that entertain people, and people want to know that. So I enjoy doing it. I enjoy sharing it. I try to share the more positive things of the homesteading and the stuff I do here, but there are the ups and downs too. So maybe I'll share some other stuff that may not be as happy, but so you kind of have the reality of it's not always, roses and gumdrops every day. But again, thank you, everyone. Please like, subscribe, comment, and pass it along to others. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for hanging in there and listening to me yammer at the gums and read these amazing books from the local libraries. So always go to the local libraries. They're amazing. And they have helped me throughout this transition, being back in the back hollow with no internet. And so I can check out movies. You can check out hotspots depending on what state you're in and what library. Check out books and all kinds of stuff. Endless database of stuff. So and things to do. So yeah, thank you all so very much. Have a good night. Merry Christmas, and soon to be Happy New Year. But we'll see. I'll see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Christmas Day, and we will read. And that will be the end of the 12 days of Christmas here with your Farming Man. And I look forward to reading those stories and you all taking this journey with me. So have a good night. Merry Christmas, and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.